Rumspringa!
Hey, Brynne, have you seen Steel Magnolias?
Oh my god, yes, I love that movie.
Jonsey, you've seen it, right?
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
You've seen Dracula, right?
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
Lena, you've seen it.
What do you think? Filmspringa!
Hey, Brynne, have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
Oh my god, Weekend at Bernie's saved my life.
Jonsey, you have to have seen it.
Oh my god, no, I haven't. Of course not. You've seen Nightmare on Elm Street. It's the best.
That movie scared the out of me when I was a
You know,
kid.
did it scare the out of you? I have not seen that one, and I will be praying for all of your souls.
It's your Filmspringa, Lena.
Hasn't seen it.
It's showtime!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Filmspringa. A podcast about all your favorite films and your sheltered friend who's never seen them. I am Tony, and I'm here with Brynne. And our sheltered friend, Jonsey.
Hi guys, I'm Jonsey.
Yes. And this week we are stuck in the 90s again. This week. This one was Brynne's pick. Do you want to let everybody know what we watched this week, Brynne?
This week we did the seminal 90s John Cusack classic.
Yeah.
Grosse
About to
Pointe
blow
Blank.
my mind. I was like, this was a Johnny.
I know you
Hughes
just
movie?
confused Jonesy.
That was a trick. That was a test to see if you guys watched
Okay.
the movie and you passed. John
Yes.
Cusack.
His 1997 black comedy crime film, Grosse Pointe Blank.
Grosse Pointe Blank.
Yeah.
with the
So you have-
soundtrack to die for.
Oh, the soundtrack. First of all, the soundtrack
We'll get
is
into it.
freaking amazing. You got the specials, the Clash. Who else is on there? There's like a bunch of Susie and the
Can we
Banshees.
also
That's
just say
right.
they don't-
And Echo and the
they
Ballerina
don't-
and all that. Huh?
Echo and the
They
Bunnyman,
don't
yeah.
try to make good soundtracks anymore. Like,
I
okay,
know.
being
No.
a sheltered kid, I didn't have access except for the radio to music. So my other access point was soundtracks of movies that I wasn't even allowed to watch.
Okay. So I want to know when you guys graduated high school.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah.
I
When
had
did
the
you?
best year.
What year? 2000.
2000.
Oh, whatever.
Ooh,
Boo.
look at you.
I was 95, so this film was very much like came out right after I got out of high school, and it really brought me back to the mid 90s, 100%. When did you graduate high school, Brynne?
I graduated high school in 2003.
2003. Oh gosh. I'm so
Yeah.
old.
So
For a good
How
mix.
producer Rob
fun.
is like the one who graduated in what? 93? 92. Old
but
man.
Rob, you look younger than any of us.
I know.
Rob.
Hello, Daddy.
He made a pact with the man
Yeah.
downstairs. That's why.
Yep.
Down, he's like, you, me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
would love to make
Grosse
a pact with Satan.
Grosse Pointe Blank. The Cusacks, so many of the Cusacks are in this
I
film.
believe all of the
Except for the
children are-
I
dad.
mean, there's only
that.
two, right?
No, three. So John Cusack, Joan Cusack, Ann Cusack, and Bill Cusack are all in the film. Susie Cusack and their dad, Dick Cusack, are the only ones not in the film.
Sorry.
Yeah. And
make it
I'm
obvious.
five.
I totally forgot. What's his name? Dan Aykroyd was in this film. I totally.
Oh, Dan Aykroyd as the grocer
Yeah.
is like
And-
so beautiful.
And he's in
Yes.
one of my favorite scenes, the diner scene. And he delivers my favorite line in the whole film, which is, "Hey, Chatty Cathy, cut the line. I'm not interested." It made me,
so-
we were watching it this week, me and Robbie, and it made me laugh out loud. And I kept telling him that, "Hey, Chatty Cathy, cut the line."
I call people Chatty Cathy all the time, and people are like, "What?"
Yeah.
Is that from this film?
I think it's a
No,
common.
It's a common one, but the
Okay,
way
okay.
Dan Aykroyd delivers that
Says
line
it.
is amazing. So
And the
before
way
we get
John
into,
Cusack-
huh?
yeah, we should.
Before we
should-
get into the film, let's watch the trailer and get the audience.
So much
better.
I know we're already
Right.
super excited to talk about it,
Right.
so we're gonna watch the trailer, get you all in the mood for some Grosse Pointe Blank.
We were worried about our
Can't wait
editing.
to see it.
High alumni. Can you believe it's been 10 years since you left Grosse Pointe?
Don't tease me, you know what I do for a living. I just honestly don't know what I have in common with those people anymore. And what am I going to say? killed the president of Paraguay with a fork. How have you been?
Go see some old friends. Have some punch. Visit with what's-her-name.
Debbie.
Don't kill anybody for a few days. See what it feels like.
I'll give it a shot.
No, don't give it a shot. Don't shoot anything.
I'm a pet psychiatrist. I sell couch insurance. I lead a weekend men's group. We specialize in ritual killings. Hi, I'm Martin. You remember me?
Oh, I know who you are.
What I miss?
What, since you stood me up on prom night and vanished without a word?
Babe, I got you, babe.
I'll come home.
I got you, babe.
Kid, I'm putting together a little concern. You mean like a union?
You in trouble?
Just a moment. I'll kill her.
Oh, good for you. It's a growth industry.
Do you have to do postgraduate work for that, or can you jump right in?
There's a contract out in your life, but I'm not going to do it. It's either because I'm in love with your daughter or I have a newfound respect for life.
That punk is either in love with that guy's daughter or he has a newfound respect for life.
Debbie, I'm in love with you. I know we can make this relationship work. It's not easy for me. I always control my emotions. I just need time to change. Why don't you just join the union? This union, is there going to be meetings? Of course! No meetings. I want you to think about this, and you don't have to answer it now. But Debbie, will you marry me?
I love that. I mean, the soundtrack. Come on.
Mirror in the Bathroom is like one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, it's very 80s, but very 90s too.
Is it about cocaine?
Is it?
Who knows?
Maybe.
I
Can we
hope
have
so.
your cocaine accent, please?
My Australian accent, the only thing that I can say is,
Can you please?
have you tried cocaine? Have you ever done cocaine?
It's the
so bad.
worst
It's so
ever, but it's so good.
People love that. Do you know about
People
cocaine?
do love that.
They
It's
do.
not a good accent.
It's not at all,
You
but
love
it's
that?
hilarious.
It's not a good
I get
accent.
compliments on the authenticity of my cocaine.
From Australians
Yeah.
or from
or-
people on
You're from
cocaine?
Australia. Rage email the Filmspringa. What's our Gmail address?
It's Filmspringa podcast at gmail.com.
Or send us a video clip of you yourself in your Australian accent.
Yeah.
If you're so Australian. Australians. You tell me what you sound like when you say cocaine.
Brynne.
Okay.
Speaking of
I
cocaine.
didn't know we were starting a war with
I
all
know.
our Australian fans.
So Brynne, give us a brief rundown of the plot of this cocaine film.
Is this a cocaine film?
Cocaine. That bag of blow that the bully
Yeah.
BMW guy offers at the end. He's like, "Do you want to do some blower?" He says, "Cocaine," and it is a huge bag. I was like, "That is insane." I was watching it with a gentleman friend, and I went, "How much do you think that cost?" This is a good date movie.
A lot. It is a
was
great date
Probably
movie.
mostly cut with baking soda, so it was probably $60.
Probably. All right,
Not
plot,
the-
Brynne. Give us the plot.
So John Cusack, a neurotic hitman, running around.
Oh.
He's neurotic, yeah, for sure. His
Oh, I thought you
relationship-
said erotic.
Whatever you got from that it's a Rorschach test. So John Cusack, the erotic neurotic hitman, gets an invitation to his 10-year high school reunion, which no fucking way is John Cusack 28 in this movie.
No.
Get away from me.
No.
So, I'm coming in hot today.
Hot. Go ahead.
So he is torn about whether or not to go. Parallel to this is Dan Aykroyd's character, a fellow hitman, the grocer, who their lives sort of intersect. He is trying to get John Cusack to join his hitmen guild. And John Cusack is like a loner who listens to The Clash and wears black. So he's like, I don't want to be a part of your hitman guild. I'm a 28-year-old man, obviously.
Is it a union? I believe they ask.
Is it a union? Yeah. Meetings? No meetings.
No meetings.
So John Cusack says no. This pisses Dan Aykroyd off. So all of this culminates in John Cusack decides he's going to go back to Detroit for his high school reunion. He meets up with the love of his life from high school. Also, Dan Aykroyd is so pissed off that he has like tipped off the government saying that John Cusack is this like double agent, and then they're all trying to go in and kill him. So he is at his high school reunion trying to navigate the mental minefields of coming into contact with your past and what you thought of yourself and the people, while also trying to literally not be killed by the non-metaphorical hitmen who are trying to murder him while he was visiting his hometown. So, you know, actual physical minefields, as in his old house that's now a liquor store gets blown up. And then emotional minefields, like, you know, alienation from his parents and his past self.
Good job. Wow. Okay, Brynne. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So the film did very good box office wise, and the reviews are pretty good for this film when it came out. It made like over 31 million in the box office, and it was written. The original screenplay was written by Tom. I'm gonna mess up this name.
The last name's crazy. Don't even try.
Something, and he wrote it in 91, but it didn't get done till 96. 5, 6, or 7. 7. And John Cusack has said this is his favorite film he's done.
It's really good.
Yeah, and he wrote some of it too, and a lot of the film was improvised. And I love the fact that Joan Cusack and John Cusack are in the film together, because they were 16 Candles. They've done a few films together, and they did a film in 2008 called War Inc., which is loosely kind of a sequel to Grosse Pointe Blank, because it's John Cusack playing a hitman again with Joan Cusack as his assistant, and Dan Aykroyd and Dan Aykroyd's like a co-star again in that type of role in War Inc. So it's like kind of the same cast, kind of the same preferences, but a little different.
They did in A Fish Called Wanda, where they didn't do a sequel, but Dangerous Creatures or Fierce Creatures is like
in the same world,
in the universe. Yeah.
Which I thought was really, really cool.
That one?
Maybe.
No.
It's not one of my favorites.
Never mind. Throw it out.
I love the role that Joan Cusack is playing too.
I do too.
She's
my favorite part of the movie.
And then she screams, she's like, I don't give a fuck. You got it here. And then she's like, you better go to your reunion.
And then she's talking about soup.
I know.
And she's so good in this film. Well, I like watching
She's the kind of actress I want to be in.
Well, when we were watching it, and she comes on there's one part of the film when she's talking to her brother on the phone, and I'm like, God, that reminds me of Jonsey, just the way Jonsey's on stage when you see her on stage. Yeah. I was like, yep, same kind of actress. There you go.
Yep.
But I like their chemistry together, and it's in every film. It's like that with them too.
And his chemistry with Minnie Driver,
so good in this film.
Also so good.
Yeah,
so
you know when the scene where he goes back to her radio station and they meet for the first time after 10 years, and she just kisses him. That was all improvised, not in the script. It just happened, and she made the decision. And she made the decision to do that during the shoot, and John Cusack was just like shocked and went with it. So I like that a lot of the film.
I will also say that if a man did that to a woman impromptu in a shoot,
it would be
that would not be okay.
No, it would not.
Thank you. That was a bit of my point.
Remember that time that Cameron Diaz got kissed by Isaac? What's his name? Chris Isaacs.
And where?
At the MTV like movie awards or something, he like kissed her, and she was like, not about it for years.
I just remember the Halle Berry and
Adrian Brody.
Brody one, which was like, okay, yeah, you're celebrating, but it doesn't mean you have to on my face.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the movie.
Jenna Elfman.
Let's focus on things.
Jenna Elfman. Is that her?
Jenna Elfman.
This was her first film debut, and for people who are fans of 16 Candles and all of that, they paid homage in this film to Joan Cusack's character in 16 Candles by putting Jenna Elfman in a neck brace, like a body brace, which I thought was so cool that they kind of threw that little nod in there for Joan Cusack.
I despise Jenna Elfman, but
I don't like her.
I got a lot of hot takes.
I don't like her. I don't think she's a deep
Scientologist.
Yeah, I don't think she's a good actress. No, Jenna Elfman. I don't think
so. I agree with everything everyone is saying. However, the show Dharma and Greg pretty much sums up my marriage.
Yeah, your marriage. Yeah,
Pretty much.
So
the actors, not the real life actors, the movie or the show, but
it's a weird feeling for me because I'm like agreed, and also fuck Scientology, but then also Dharma and Greg.
Also Danny Elfman's daughter-in-law, which I don't appreciate.
No.
Also, do we know how much Danny Elfman contributes to the music of what we know and what we experience? Because guess what, guys?
So much.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I don't like Jenna Elfman's proximity to Danny Elfman. I love Danny
it bothers
Elfman.
me.
I think I don't like
both
that.
Scientologists.
Danny Elfman is he's married to Bridget Fonda. Oh.
Yeah, for sure. So Brynne, let's hear when you first watched this film, since this is one of your favorite films. Tell us the very first time you watched it, how old you were, your take, and now rewatching it, and why you love this film, and all that good stuff.
So I watched this film at the very appropriate age of 14.
Oh God, thank God. I was getting worried there. I always get worried. I was like, she's gonna say 5. It's gonna get lower and lower.
I was a newborn, and I remember it clearly.
I was in the womb.
My mom watched this while I was in utero, and it really stuck with me. No, I watched this at 14. With my cool high school drama friends.
Yeah.
So that's why I remember being so impactful. Like I was like, ooh, this is like dark, but still funny. And like the soundtrack, I was so super into the Clash. And I was like deep in the ska scene, like going to concerts and wearing Converse and Dickies and like doing all that. So this to me was like just so cool. And I told you, I think in the last episode about like my deep love for Minnie Driver.
Mm-hmm.
She in Circle of Friends, I saw Circle of Friends. It's like when I was very young and very chubby. And I thought like, okay, there's a space for all of us. And she's a beautiful woman, but and so I love her. She also, my dad and my brother went to a Minnie Driver concert. And because she's a singer.
Yeah, she's a very good singer.
He is actually very talented.
And so they went to sign up. They asked her to sign a poster, and my brother and my dad couldn't decide which of the sisters was going to get it.
Yeah.
And she was signing it, and she was like, who should I sign it to? And they were like, well, just leave it blank because we'll figure out later. And she's like, no, you're going to put like piss face or something. And then they're going to think I did it. And I was like, what a funny lady.
I love it.
What was the movie she sang in? Like she was on stage in this black in like silvery outfit. And I want to say Sally Fields was in it. Hope Springs. Was it Hope Springs?
Oh, yes. Was it Hope Springs?
I want to say it's Hope Springs. It might be. I can't remember. But I just remember that scene with Minnie Driver.
He was in that movie, The Heart of Me, with David Duchovny, where like
she's been in a lot of
he
stuff.
had his dead wife's heart transplant and they fell in love.
Oh, that's right.
Into that movie. Yeah.
Gosh.
So I have an enduring love for Minnie Driver. I thought she was so amazing and natural in this movie. Her American accent, hearing it as an adult, was rougher than I had remembered.
Yeah.
They should have just like made a quick scene about how she grew up.
Her mother was British or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All you have to do is write a quick line of dialogue about boarding school or something.
Yes. And then it was established.
So George Armitage is the director, and he actually shot like this movie in 3 parts, like one way over the top, one not so over the top, and one very subdued, and kind of combined all of them. Because for all of the people out there who likes assassin movies and hitman movies, all of the action scenes with guns are just ridiculous. Like they never run out of bullets for some reason. Like they just no aiming whatsoever. It's just like poop. Yeah, it's insane.
All of those scenes, I was like, okay, so this is John Cusacks. I want to do a shoot 'em up movie.
Yeah, exactly.
He was like,
John Cusack way.
Yeah, I have money to be a producer, to do it in a John Cusack way with the John Cusack soundtrack, and then also
Let me shoot a gun. Yeah.
I also love how we're vacillating between Cusack and Cusack.
Cusack.
I don't know which one's right.
Neither. So
They're
let's just do
both right. But
If
yeah,
you mix them up, then you're never not wrong.
exactly.
Yeah, this movie was impactful to me. It made me feel very cool that I liked it. It always stuck with me. And the soundtrack was so good. And they had a lot of theater gags in it.
They did.
They're like, yes, like the scenes where they both like go into the they poke their heads out one on top of the other.
Yes, yeah.
To, like look in, and it had a lot of like sight gags, which I really loved. What about you, Tony? Tell us your history.
I watched this in the theater. I remember I went with a group of friends and we watched it in the theater. Well, yeah.
No, you meant in the theater.
Yes, a movie
I saw
theater.
a theatrical reenactment.
I'm like, wait a minute, this was a play? Grosse Pointe Blank, the musical.
It's like Shakespeare. They did a stage version.
Should have been. No, the movie theater, Jonsey.
Teacher who would have just like showed this movie, so that's what I thought you meant.
No.
Okay.
They workshopped it at summer stock.
Yeah, exactly. Betty Buckley in the role of Minnie Driver.
I don't know
Can you
what
imagine?
you're talking about. This is the focus of the podcast. Shut up.
So I watched it in the movie theater. I remember I went with a group of friends, and the one thing I took away from this movie was literally the soundtrack, because it was everything I was listening to at that time. Like, I was a huge Susie and the Banshees fan, still am. The Clash, you have the Clash, the Specials. Hello, Violent Limbs. It's a great, great soundtrack, and that's what I remember first and foremost with the film. And I at the time, and I still am. I love Joan Cusack and John Cusack, especially in Better Off Dead is my favorite John Cusack film. I love that film. I love
Jonesy,
love
have you seen Better Off Dead?
with Booger? No, she hasn't. So when I watched this film, I immediately loved I just loved it. I forgot, because it's been a really long time since I seen it, how well written it is and how many nice witty one-liners are in there, and the really awkward relationship between John Cusack and Minnie Driver's character, Debbie, and what's his name in the film? His character's name. And Martin.
Blank.
Yeah. Their chemistry and the weird awkwardness between them from the get-go, I don't know why, but it just really appealed to me. And I remember really loving the film and watching it a couple times after that. And then it's been a while since I watched it. And then I know when I watched it again for the show, I liked it more than I remember I did. Like, I really enjoyed it. It's such a good film. And it really reminded me of high school or like right after high school.
Yeah, me too. I remember, like, when I went to rewatch it, I was like, I might be disappointed because it might be more stylistic.
Yeah.
But
it's very 90s.
It's very nice.
In a
Her
good way.
outfits. And I just remember the whole time I was like, she's so thin.
She's so thin.
Minnie Driver is so thin. And the outfits are so 90s.
And I thought John Cusack was so good looking in this film in all black all the time. I just I loved it. And when the whole cell phone, the flip phone with and then he's listening, and he has the head piece on, and I'm like, I remember that.
And he takes a picture of her and the baby with that tiny flat,
which actually is at the time, it's what the spy people use. Like, it was,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. I really enjoyed it the second time around. Like, this time around, I really liked it. It's a good film. My favorite scene is the diner scene, which I was looking for a clip of it, but I couldn't find it. But the dialogue between Dan Aykroyd and John Cusack is so good. And the whole guns under the table and the paper bag. So dumb.
John Cusack gets up and gets behind the waitress.
Yeah.
And Dan Aykroyd pulls up and he has like the gun in a paper bag. And he's
so dumb. It's so dumb. And then the poor waitress is like, he's like, I want just egg whites, an omelet egg whites. And she's like, what do you want in it? And he's like, nothing, just the egg whites. And she's like, that's not an omelet. It's so
that was
good.
a very fun scene. That was one that is like straight out. It could have been played on a stage.
Right? It's so good.
We get it, Lena.
And this film was, for any of you film buffs out there, this was the last film for Barbara Harris. And if you don't know who Barbara Harris is, she did a lot of really good films. But the one that I knew Barbara Harris for is she's the mom in Freaky Friday, the original Freaky Friday with Jodie Foster. And I forgot she was in this film, and this was her last film before she unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, it was a small role.
Yeah, she played Martin's mom, Cuckoo mom. So yeah, I really enjoyed the film. Like when you watched it this time. Oh, this is a good question for you both. So part of the film is the whole premise is he goes back to his hometown after 10 years of disappearing to go to his 10-year high school reunion. Did you guys go to your 10-year reunion?
No. So the dude that I was watching,
I did not.
Yeah, my date asked me this last night. He's like, "Did you go to your reunion?" I was like, "No, it's dumb. At 28, I had nothing." Yeah, I just don't think 10 years is long enough.
No,
like 20 years. Like maybe I'll go back when I'm 38. But being 28, it's like a paralegal, like a rented apartment with a friend.
I know.
Not like I'm not pulling up with like, here's my baby. Like I'd accomplished nothing.
And why did
so at my high school reunion, 10-year reunion, it was a small town in Texas, like population 20,000. It was a big deal when we got a movie theater and a super Walmart. I'm not kidding, but so like, you go to the 10-year reunion so that you can talk about your spawn.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to my 10-year reunion because I was traveling Australia with one of my sisters. And so there was an option where you could just like send a picture instead. And I sent a picture in front of me in the Sydney Opera House, just like lounging. And I was like,
you're like, this is what I'm doing.
Your Lena Jones picture.
Oh, God.
Here's me not missing this podunk town in Texas.
Did you go, Tony?
Oh, hell no. Once I left high school, I was done. I was like, I don't want to see these people ever again. I'm good. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Were you living in San Diego at the time? Because I know you are an actual San Diego
I know,
local,
I'm a native. Yeah, I don't remember if I was. I think I might have been. I think so, yeah. The other thing that I found interesting is, so John Cusack and Jeremy Piven, who's his friend in the film,
like working together.
Yeah, they did what's it called? The other film, Serendipity, together as best friends, but they actually are high school friends. They went to high school together.
Friends from high school.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Haven't they done a lot more films together? I thought they've done a lot more than just the two together.
I think they probably have. I'm sure, but those are the two.
Jeremy Piven too closely.
I know. I'm not following him on Insta. I don't keep track of his career.
So just referencing back to last week's episode, if you listen, my first boyfriend right out of high school was obsessed with John Cusack, and that was his like number one actor person. So
I believe you said he had decided. John Cusack was his favorite actor.
Yes.
Okay.
And I stand by it. Anyway, moving on. Because of this, I remember him saying that basically John Cusack paved the way for Jeremy Piven's career by like putting him in a bunch of movies.
That's pretty dope.
Like bringing him into a bunch of projects until eventually he was his own kind of
actor
success. Yeah, that could bring in his own roles.
That makes a lot of sense.
I could see that. I could totally see that.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Why he's been foisted upon us.
This came out in '97, the same year that another high school themed movie came out that I love. Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion. No, Romeo and Michelle.
I love that
came out the same year.
Lena, have you seen Romeo and Michelle?
I have. Here's the downside is I'm one of the few people, like, I don't get it.
How can you not get it?
Okay, let's not talk about this.
Yeah, let's not. No, because that's no.
It's too much to bear.
I can feel my blood boiling. No.
Yeah, no.
The thing is, everyone is like, no, Romeo and Michelle, like you were made for Romeo and Michelle's.
They invented Post-its.
No, I know.
No, the glue. for post.
Janine Garofalo is my favorite part in that movie.
Yeah,
she's good in
I
that
love her
movie.
in that movie. But in this one, it's a pretty good cast. It was a solid cast for Grosse Pointe Blank. So now we are at the point of the show where, let me pull up our theme music. Guess what time it's for? It's time for
Let's start.
Name drop.
Dolly Parton. Rachel Maddow. I spend an hour with her every single day.
I once played a drinking game with
Celine Dion, Liza Minnelli. Cher. Laura Dern. I don't know her.
Who would you say is the most famous person in your phone?
My good friend Ben Affleck and his crippling addiction to back tattoos.
I have the best Lady Gaga story of all time.
Hate him, loathe her, over them, cancel it, tell me everything.
I love it. Yes, now it's time for Name Drop. This is our version of 6 Degrees. And this week we are going to pick, did we say Joan Cusack?
Mm-hmm.
Joan Cusack to Guy Pearce, who's in the next film we're going to watch. So we're going to try to figure that out Brynne will probably do it, I'm sure, by the end of the show.
She always does.
I know.
But I'm going to try. This one, I feel like I might be able to.
Name a Guy Pearce film.
Right now.
Yeah, go.
Memento.
Yes, you got one.
Who else is in Memento? Who else is in Memento that you know?
The chick from Matrix.
Yeah, I thought
yes,
so.
Okay, good. Okay. Whew. Okay, she might have it this week, Brynne. She might have it this week.
See? I know some things, guys.
Okay.
But what you do have is an opinion on this film, and we're going to get to that right now. I want to know what you thought of this film, because I was kind of excited for you to watch it, because I think you were going to like it. And I want to know what Mom and Pop Jones would have thought of this, and if this movie was on the no-fly list for your household back in the day when it came out, or whenever.
So 1997, I think it was.
Yeah.
Right? Or 96, either way.
97.
Yeah, that would have been like, my sophomore or freshman year of high school. Rated R, so absolutely on the no-fly list. That alone. And then you throw in that it's an assassin. Well, that's just of the devil. And then you throw in. Honestly, I think those would have been the major two things.
That's all it took. That's all it
Because
took.
there wasn't like, that much sex. There was cursing, but it was all kind of like,
I mean, he did place his feet on her stomach.
Yes, that is true.
That was super. So that I was like, yeah, me and my siblings and my cousins, we did that to each other time.
Yeah.
Like, especially me being the oldest. Like, yeah, I had to do that with all 3 of my siblings. Like,
I do that with my daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a part of life.
Right?
Make me fly.
So what did you think of the film watching it for the first time? Like, what was your initial impression?
Guess what, guys? This is the first film that it turns out this was not the first time Jonsey watched it.
Really?
Jonsey watched this film in the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
Feel betrayed.
So she lied to us and our audience.
I did lie, but I unknowingly lied. It was an accident.
So wait, when did you realize you had watched this film? What part of the film?
At the reunion.
You're like, oh, that's it. Oh, I want to know a fun fact about the reunion. They were actually going to shoot at Grosse Pointe High School, but they weren't allowed because of the alcohol they were going to be shooting in that scene.
Oh,
so they said, yeah.
That's so weird. Like, wouldn't you want that fame for your high school?
Right?
Like, this is the school that they shot Grosse Pointe Blank in.
It might have been a dry county.
Oh, you're right, Jonsey. No, it
in
wasn't.
Detroit? No way.
No. Our producer's from Michigan.
Rob
He's like,
says
no.
but I'm just saying, those still do exist.
They do. They do. So, what did you think of the film seeing it this time around, since it's not the first time you saw it?
To make it fair, the reason why I kind of blocked this out from my memory was at the time I was dating, if you listened last time, a really pretentious kind of guy, and John Cusack was his favorite actor, and so every John Cusack movie was the best movie ever made. And so I basically, like, this was one of the movies where he was like, you gotta watch this, and I was like, okay, I will.
And you fell asleep.
For podcast listeners, Lena is pretending she's asleep.
Yes. So you fell
Except I
asleep.
really
That's
did
why you
put
don't.
myself to sleep.
You didn't remember this film because you consciously decided to sleep through it.
Correct. Yeah.
So okay, so what did you think watching it? Did you enjoy it now, or like give us your review on it?
I did enjoy it. The only thing that I had a problem with was that this high school relationship meant this much 10 years later with no contact. That was the only thing that I was like, meh, that seems a little far-fetched. But
it
in
could
movie
happen.
world, right. And in movie world, you know, it's beautiful and romantic
Yeah.
and sweet and
There wouldn't
all
be a
that
movie
bullshit.
if it didn't have that.
Yeah. I also thought it was fun. I thought there was definitely, it was obvious that it was John Cusack going, I want to make a shoot 'em up movie.
Yeah.
Because the whole shoot 'em up scene, I was like, okay, this
is so weird.
A little over the top and also not quite fitting with the film.
No.
But sure, whatever. Let's go for the ride.
But do you think they did it? He did it in a very very obviously like, I'm not taking this too seriously.
Yes.
I just want to do a shoot 'em up part and make it fun.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
It was very much a here's the thing. If John Cusack made a film that was more serious, that was a shoot 'em up, I might be like, okay, well, that's bullshit.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, this was probably right in his wheelhouse of like what, you know, would be palatable.
Yeah, just a little ridiculous, but just enough to be like, okay, I get it.
It was fun.
Yeah,
That's
it was fun.
the
Very
thing.
much so.
It was fun. And I think especially with the history he had in film to this point and then still to this day, you know, he doesn't have to make a Arnold Schwarzenegger type shoot 'em up movie. He just has to make a fun movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And he did that. So accomplishment achieved.
Right? I mean, I think the plot of the film is very like, okay, it's easy to follow and it's not, you don't have to think much for this film. You just sit back and enjoy. That's what I love about
And
it.
also, I think if it wasn't John Cusack and Joan Cusack and Minnie Driver, this would have been a film that could have really sunk.
Yeah.
What,
They're siblings,
Brynne?
and you said their last names differently.
I know. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that.
And Joan Cusack.
Joan Cusack. Yeah. Did you know that?
I'm not surprised, but I didn't notice it.
Did you know the guy that stalks Martin Blank in the film, the little guy, is actually a world champion kickboxer and trained John Cusack for the film?
Yes.
And then he has a fight scene with his coach. It's so, like, I thought that was cool. But that guy's face, oh man.
It's so strange looking.
He reminded me, his face looked like he had a lot of plastic surgery to look like a cat of some kind.
Yes, like the cat people.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
No, it looks more like he got punched in the face a whole bunch.
And it just
then had plastic
It's
surgery
to
this
cover
was
it
the
up.
best they could come up with. And they're like, well, it's feline humanoid.
Yeah.
Meh.
Man.
There you go.
We're not shaming anyone for their appearance.
Are
no,
we though?
not shaming anyone.
So Jonesy, this film would not have been okay in the Jones house back in the day.
It
with
was
Mom and
rated
Pop.
R, so
Yeah.
full on no. That would have been there was too many curse words, that kind of thing. Also, it was about an assassin. I think the movie from the 90s about an assassin I was allowed to watch was, what was the one with Bruce Willis and like Matthew Perry or the guy
The
from
whole 9
Friends?
yards.
The whole 9 yards. That's right. Okay.
And I don't think there was actually any killing in that one.
No.
There were boobs in that movie. Amanda Peet shows her nice boobies.
She knows her dirty pillows.
Well, you know, like we've established before, Ma and Pa Jones rhyme does not make any sense.
I do like in this film how Dan Aykroyd gets killed with a television, and it's just
that's
so
so
random and over the top, and he's like going, and I'm like, you would not get electrocuted, and he's like
twitching.
No,
I was like, oh, that's so good. And I was like, I was like, they probably don't want to show him getting shot because it's like, oh, Dan Aykroyd, why'd you shoot him?
Right.
So they're like, let's kill him in a funny way.
It was funny. And I love that he was honest. He's like, are you out? And John Cusack's like, yep.
Yeah.
And he was like, why would you be honest about that?
I know.
He had a long con.
And he wears gloves when he's shooting the gun. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah.
So this was another point where I feel like is a running theme in our podcast. Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, there's a few, Zach Galifianakis, we've established, do better when they're doing other people's material versus left to their own devices.
Yeah. So
I have not established that, and I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I just agreed because it sounded cool.
I'm calling
I don't
this
know.
the Gina Loans rule.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Don't agree with this.
Did you, Brynne, when you were doing research for this film, did you see the interview that John Cusack gave mentioning how this film is related to the Reagan and Bush years?
Yes, I did see that.
Wait,
about
what?
Explain it to Jonsey. I thought it was
said that
funny, but it makes
sort of-
sense.
They're mercenary ethics.
Yeah.
So like they were really just like presenting this sort of like front that they like cared and were nice and normal, but really they were just like completely cutthroat, and like their ethics were all about money and like really cold-blooded, but they seemed like really nice and normal and fine.
Yeah, and they'd go home to their kids and wife like nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
I thought it was so funny
And the
that that's what he
GOP
said.
is fucked up.
Yeah. It's so true.
Hot take. Sorry, all our GOP listeners. Not
Hot takes tonight.
Hot
I think anyone
takes.
from the GOP is watching us.
I know.
Or listening to us.
I know
out
what
at
to
TV.
remember.
Yeah. Brynne, what is one of your favorite parts of this film? I'm always curious about this with the films we watch.
Yeah, I really love the part with Joan Cusack is putting she's drinking and pouring gasoline all over when she's with a cigarette.
I'm taking down the office. I'm taking down the office.
Exactly.
Isn't
Or
she
breaking
also
down the office.
holding a wad of cash?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Don't forget that part.
The wad of cash at the end. Yeah. I love her in
Something
this
so
film.
flammable.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part, Tony?
It's got to be any of the scenes Joan Cusack is in because I love her, and the Dan Aykroyd and John Cusack diner scene. I just love the dialogue and the way they go back and forth, and how and it feels like it was improv, a lot of it. And when Dan Aykroyd, when he's like says, "Oh, you would have told him," he goes, "Me no, not me." Like I just love the way he delivers that. It's so funny. That's probably mine. What about you, Jonsey?
Oof. So not necessarily a favorite scene, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do normal people pay $700 for a prom dress?
I also was like,
know.
in 1997 money, I was like, that is too
What
much.
kind of prom dress was it? Couture.
I was year 2000 and my budget was 100 and I got it for 90 and was like, yeah.
Yeah, who pays $700 for a prom dress?
That's a lot, right?
Back
I
then.
would never say that. And if
But
you do, I was like,
also-
don't on the radio, you're going to tell everyone what
Yeah.
bourgeois you are. Your $700 prom dress.
Also, that's why her father was then later a target for assassins.
For that
Because she's
$700 prom dress.
pouring
$700
that
prom dress.
money. Yeah. So not
Exactly.
so much a favorite scene, just more of a, can we please talk about this further scene?
Yeah.
Can see that tab. Yeah. I also, at the time, I was like, that's not right.
Not at all.
I didn't pay that much for my wedding dress.
Neither did I.
You didn't pay $700 for your wedding, or no?
But that says more about us than it does about
About this
Also
film.
true. Also true.
Oh
Lindsay,
goodness.
what would your parents say about this film?
Yeah.
I think so. We've talked before about like if there was a made for TV version.
hmm
I think my parents would absolutely love the USA or TNT version of this movie.
The stripped down version.
All right.
Correct. They could
Okay.
get behind a hapless, fun, lovable assassin who goes to his high school reunion and tries to make things good with his high school sweetheart. They could absolutely get behind that. So I think, obviously assassins aren't good.
Yeah, except if they're John Cusack.
Yep.
Then it's okay. Then it's okay.
If you're an erotic, neurotic
he
hitman,
doesn't kill pets, okay? He doesn't kill animals.
So it's good to have a line.
He has a conscience.
But yeah, no, I think honestly, if we had cable and this movie came on TNT, and junior in high school Lena wanted to watch it, they'd be like, okay, So I don't think the whole entirety of the movie, especially with when it came out, it was the late 90s. That was like the end of my high school years. I think it just the problem they would have had. Like, my mom was the type that counts number of F words, S words, B words, that kind of thing.
Jesus Christ. How do you go through life like that? Because that's got to be just so stressful. It sounds like
to me,
a lot
it's
of work.
just so exhausting.
I know.
She worked for the censorship board. She missed her career opportunity.
I know. She should have been part of the censorship
she followed all of those boards.
But you guys, it's time to revisit
Let's
Name
start.
Drop. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But
Rachel Maddow.
yeah. So did you figure it out? Anybody figure it out?
I figured it out. But I'm
How?
gonna give Jonsey a chance.
How? Did you cheat?
I did not.
Of course
Okay,
she didn't
I
cheat.
know,
Has
I
she
know.
ever
You,
cheated?
sir.
How dare you accuse me?
Besmirch my honor.
I got nothing. Go for it. You're beautiful.
I think I
You're
could do it if I
wonderful.
thought about it, but
Think about it then.
no, I can't.
We don't have
Go ahead, Brynne.
So Joan Cusack.
Cusack?
I don't. Which one is right? I'm not trying
They're
to
both
insult
right.
either way.
They're fine. Joan Cusack was in Working Girl with Harrison Ford.
Another movie I haven't seen.
Oh, I love that movie. Harrison Ford was in What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer was in The Witches of Eastwick with Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson was in Batman with Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger was in LA Confidential with Guy Pearce.
Oh.
What was it?
LA Confidential, another movie I haven't seen.
It was a good movie.
That's a
LA
good
Confidential
movie.
is so good. It's like a
Okay.
Chinatown, but better.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't say that.
So Chinatown. It's a Chinatown, but modern, right?
Yeah. So
Yes.
speaking of
And
Joan
also
Cusack,
not
I
Roman Polanski.
Is she on the phone?
No, I got a present from my
Yes!
brother in the mail, and
Yeah.
look what it is. He got me a picture, and it's
What? From Adam's Family Values.
Debbie from Adam's Family
Debbie!
Values.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. That's amazing.
That's how
Talk
much I
about
love her.
something I was allowed to watch, even dressed up like Wednesday Addams for Halloween.
You have
Yeah.
never seen the Adam's Family Values?
No, I'm saying something I was allowed
Oh,
to
okay.
watch to the
That
point
doesn't make any
of
sense to me.
I dressed up as Wednesday Addams for Halloween.
Oh, so for those of you, that couldn't see.
Yeah, I was just pulling
yeah.
up the artist. So it's a illustration of Debbie from Adam's Family Values. You know the scene where she's in the white dress, Malibu Barbie, and she's pulling the electrician, but it's like a cartoon version. And the artist who created it is Hayden Evans. You can follow him on Instagram. If you go to my Instagram account, Tony_baloney_macaroni, I have a post of the painting my brother got me, and then there's a link to the artist who created it. It is so cute. I loved it the minute I opened it. I was like, this is perfect for me.
That's fantastic. And
Right.
also, I have ideas for my next Halloween costume.
Oh my God,
Debbie,
that would be
so good.
perfect. And then play your man could be Fester.
Yes, he
Oh my God, that
can.
would be amazing.
Yes, he can.
Can we do
So good.
pairings?
Yes, let's do. Let me pull up our theme music. Grace, give me a stinger.
Oui, monsieur.
Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of Kina Lily, shake it over ice, and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
It's drink. I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another.
Grace, give me a stinger.
Yes, this is a part of the show where we are going to pair a cocktail and a little bit of nibblies that you want to enjoy while you watch this film. I think I'm going to go first. I have to pick a double vodka on the rocks because that's what they drink at the reunion.
Yeah.
And then for food, I don't know why. Like I keep thinking Cracker Jacks.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't know why.
I'm into that.
Is it? Yeah. Is that okay?
I like that. Yeah.
What about you, Brynne? What would you pair with this?
I would do a vodka martini and then a burrito that you get and microwave at the gas station.
Oh, because of the Altamart.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good
8
one.
p.m. burrito.
What about you, Jonsey? What would you pair it with?
So I'm gonna go Mountain Dew / Surge because this was the 90s.
Yeah.
Surge.
So even though Surge wasn't in the 80s, I feel like they still would have been like, well, let's bring it to the reunion.
Right.
Surge and vodka or Mountain Dew and vodka. And then pizza rolls.
Pizza rolls.
I love pizza rolls.
Zima. I mean, you got to do
producer
Zima.
Rob
I know. He
reminded
just
us that Zima existed.
Because there's one scene, I think we were showing it through the episode for our podcast. As there's a picture, and it's John Cusack standing there at the AM PM, and you just see the Zima cases behind him. For any of you that don't know what Zima is, you young kids out there, wasn't it like a spritz? Like it was a
It's
clear.
like a Mike's Hard Lemonade or like
it
yeah.
tasted awful. I hated it. I
But
remember.
kind of a non-flavor because you would take Jolly Ranchers and throw them in a Zima to make them have a. None
I
of
don't
y'all
remember
did that.
No,
Never
what kind
had
of
a Zima.
backwoods shit is that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Again, town of 20,000. We got excited when there was a movie theater and a Walmart.
She's like Zima and Jolly Ranchers and
Zima.
Boone's Farm, and she's happy.
Weird.
All right.
You put those Jolly Ranchers in your Zima, you waited for them to marinate, and you drank
Drank
it and got happy.
Oh, now I want to try that, actually.
You cannot find Zima anywhere.
Good luck. I was
Anywhere.
going to say, good luck
Anywhere.
finding a Zima.
I know. So now it is time for how we're going to grade this film. So, Jonesy, what did we give him? Brynne and I give it last week. Did you write it down?
Yes, I did. Yes, I
Yay.
did. So Brynne gave it a solid A.
Uh-huh.
And Tony gave it a solid B. No pluses, no minuses, A and B.
I'm gonna go with an A+. I really enjoyed it this time around.
All right.
and
That's
I
a big upgrade.
totally forgot about how great the freaking soundtrack to this film is. And Joan, I mean, come on, Joan Cusack.
Amazing.
Both of
Okay,
them.
name
Everybody
a
in the
movie
film.
that she doesn't do well in.
I know, right? She's so good at everything. I love her in Toys. Did you see
I was
Toys?
just gonna say Toys. I was gonna remember that movie Toys.
Oh, so
Yes, I
good.
do. Yes, I do.
Isn't she good in it? She's so good in that film.
Also, Tori Amos did the soundtrack.
Yes,
Just
she
saying.
did. Because Jonesy and I, that's when we first started becoming friends. We bonded over Tori Amos.
Tori
So,
Amos.
yeah,
Yep.
we sure did.
We
Okay,
love a
Brynne.
spicy redhead.
Right? Okay, Brynne, what do you grade
know? Podcast with one.
What are you gonna give the grade this week for Grosse Pointe Blank?
I'm gonna also go with an A+.
Yay! So you're sticking with it.
Right. So everyone upgraded.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Jonesy? What are you gonna grade it this film rewatching it and actually being awake this time? And does it get a stamp in the Filmspringa passport?
I think it does get a stamp in the Filmspringa passport because I feel like my age group of evangelicals kind of missed out and forgot there was a late 90s period because we were so focused on Michael W. Smith and all the other Christian singers.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, no, DC talk, all that stuff. Jars of Clay.
What'd you call me?
Everyone who is an evangelical is going,
Right, their minds are blown. They're
Every
like,
time you say evangelical, I want to go jellicle cats, angelical cats.
Theater
do it. Make that
nerd.
my theme music.
I know.
I'm on board.
We should do. I'm gonna pull a soundbite every time she says her evangelical.
I say evangelical, and then you just hear jellicle, jellicle,
There you go.
jellicle.
Yeah, I do.
So what would you grade the film?
So I would give this a solid A.
Oh, nice. Okay, and it gets a passport stamp, so that's good. I'll
Yes.
go watch it.
I think it's a
That makes
fun
me happy.
90s movie. I
Yeah.
think the soundtrack definitely, like, if you were a 90s kid, like 90s movies and
80s.
soundtracks
Yeah.
and 80s movies and soundtracks, like I still own soundtracks. Like sometimes I had the soundtrack and loved it before I even knew the movie
film.
because of
I've
how
done
sheltered
that.
I was.
I've done that.
So.
I still have the Scream 2 soundtrack.
You do?
That's really good.
I'm telling
that's
you.
funny.
And then you learn about other artists. So
Yeah, for
I
sure.
miss the days of making a good soundtrack, and this movie is one like right in the middle of that heyday.
Yeah, it was
And then-
like films like High Fidelity and like
Fidelity, yes.
Capitol
Another-
Records,
another
those
Cusack.
type of films.
Yeah.
Like Capitol
Like
Records, that's a great.
Empire Records.
Empire Records, sorry, Empire
Oh,
Records. Yeah.
I had that soundtrack. Yeah. for
And
sure.
Yeah.
John Cusack just kind of really, or Cusack, whichever.
Whatever you pick.
Depending on if we're talking about John or Joan. Just kind of had a way of like tapping into that.
Yeah, for sure.
And like making a movie that people could just like have fun with. And,
Yeah. And that's what
you
this
know.
film does. You go in and you just have a good time and it leaves
It's
you.
a fun movie.
Yeah. And I know they did like a few different endings they filmed.
Yes.
But the director is very adamant about I don't want the hitman to die. Let's give it a happy ending. And I'm glad they did. I love the way the film ends. It's so
Should
good.
we do the next movie?
Yes, let's talk about our next film. So, Jonsey has the poster in front of her. Our film next week is my pick, one of my favorite movies, and actually producer Rob's favorite movie. He actually loves this film. It is the 1994 The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. This is a fun film. It's a really, really fun film. So, Jonsey, I know you have not seen this film because I know you haven't, and you've been wanting to.
This is so, guys, just so you know, this is one of the films where like the reason why I haven't watched it for so many years is because all my friends that I love that have been like, you have to watch it. I'm like, watch it with me. I don't want to go through this experience alone. I know it's so great because everyone keeps telling me it's so great.
Movie.
So
It's a good movie.
yeah, I'm excited to watch this with the show.
Yeah. What do you think it's about based off of the name and the poster? I know you don't got a lot to go by.
So I know it's an Australian movie.
Yes. It's a buddy road film, I guess you could say.
Yes, and I kind of already knew it was a road film.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna guess is it's a few different drag queens that decide to buck all odds and go on a kind of tour to, I guess, try and make money, and basically own who they are, support each other, and it's a road trip buddy com movie, but also drag queens and also
Pretty
the
close.
outback of Australia.
Yeah. Pretty close. Would you say, Brynne? Pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close actually.
So, Brynne, what do you grade this film based off
grade
of
it
when you saw
An
it?
A+.
Me too. I'm giving it an A+ because I really
right.
enjoy this film. I own this film. That's how much I love it. And they turned it into a Broadway musical.
Yep.
They sure did.
That is a movie that you technically could have seen in the theater.
Yeah, you could have. It came out in
that's
94,
another
actually,
reason-
1994.
Well, I
so-
meant like you could have seen it in the live theater.
Yeah, you could have seen it in the live. I mixed it up there.
That's the other thing is these kind of movies that have then become that. It's like, okay, well, I can either watch it with a friend who I know will let me know the huge importance of it.
Yeah.
Or I can watch it live on stage and then watch the movie that it was based off. So that's why these movies have like kind of, this is the genre movie that has been pushed off because it's like, no, this needs to be a special moment, a monumental moment. Like, you know, like I want it to be special.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. So
I'm excited.
yeah, me too. And we're gonna watch it. We're gonna talk all about it next week. So you guys, you can follow the podcast at Filmspringa on Instagram and email us. Give us your movie requests or any of that at filmspringapodcast@gmail. And you can watch us every Friday night at, is it 8 p.m.? 8 p.m. on Out at TV. They have great programming. You watch my other show, Who Invited Her. We're there Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. And that's it for us. We will be here next week. Bye, everybody. Bye.